green. Tomorrow she was planning on leaving, but she done went and changed her philosophies. Was it the fans? Was it the lights? Could have been my arm wrapped around her all night. I knew she was the one when she said the words, not the words you might think. Oh man, she said, go birds. I drove her down to the Jersey Shore. She wanted something more than a Lone Star Texas guy. Told her about my favorite running back while we were running back. The time from that night when she leaned in and gave me that kiss. But I missed the exit, cause I didn't see how a pretty Dallas girl could win a Philly boy. We were making history. The Cowboys are sure gonna miss her. I hate to break it to them, she looking better in green. Tomorrow she was planning on leaving, but she done went and changed her philosophies. Was it the fans? Was it the lights? Could have been my arm wrapped around her.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Philly podcast, and I'm going to turn this over to Eric Perugini.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. The guy that's not on this TV right now. Welcome to the first ever edition of the Philly podcast on the Old City Sports Network. Tonight, we have a special guest with us. He's a Houston-born, Philly-raised country music singer. He's been featured on CMT, NBC 10, Fox 29, all the local places here in Philadelphia and the Philly area. Holdyn Barder, everybody. Welcome to the show, Holdyn.
What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you so much for having me. I love that. I need a button like that. You just press it. It's got all the different things on it. That's great.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Holdyn. Obviously, Holdyn, we interviewed, I think, early in 2023 or late 2023. He's like you said, as Eric said, Houston-born, Philly-bred. Now he lives in Nashville. We talked to him last year about his projects, and this year we're going to talk to him about his projects and the Eagles. We're actually going to talk some Eagles this time. Last year it was all music. This year it's going to be music and the Eagles. So
there's a lot more to talk about this season than last season. So that's probably why.
Listen, it's actually funny because it is the year anniversary that me and Eric and his two buddies went to the Eagles 49ers game, and that was the game that broke us. And Eric said that the 49ers broke us. And I was like, nah, we're just in a slump. Boy, was I wrong. And Eric was right. Oh, yeah. And that rarely happens.
49ers
right, Eric?
Broke us that game.
Yeah, it was not good.
That was a tough game, man. I was at that game, and I went to the
You were there?
Yeah, I was there. I was there.
We couldn't have met before. Because we were there tailgating. I was actually interviewed on TV.
Okay, what channel?
Channel 6. They came over and interviewed us there. It was me, Eric, and the two other guys, and they all looked at me like, "Oh, you're the most sober one." I am.
That's amazing.
Here I am in my Eagles overalls, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
I love that. Well, I'm sure we certainly would have crossed paths at that point if I knew you then. And that game was an ugly game, and it only went downhill from there. That game, I think, was actually, and not a lot of people will. I guess it's true. That was like the first bad game, because after that point, I mean, yeah, this time last year was when the team started tanking horrifically, and it started with the 49ers. And then what was it? The next weekend was Buffalo in the rain, and they won that, or it was flipped.
That was the week before.
That's right. So I was at the Buffalo game. It was pouring rain. I actually left in the fourth quarter thinking we're going to lose. It was so miserable. I was like, why did I do that? It was like one of the best games that season. And I got home, and it was still on. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But if you recall, the first three quarters of that game, that first half, I mean, I think rushing was negative. Jalen Hurts had like 10 passing yards. It was really it might not be the right data, but it was really underperformance for what they're known for. And I think that was the game where they
first started finding their kinks, which of course led to their demise in the playoffs.
Yeah, and like I said, and I'll let Eric take over from here because listen, he was 100% right. He's like, they broke them. They broke them. I'm like, no, it's a slump. Eric.
Well, I mean, look, I remember specifically saying to you and our two buddies out in the tailgate, like, that this is the 49ers Super Bowl because they couldn't get over losing to us the year before. Like,
they really couldn't.
Their season. They couldn't get over it. I was like, they're going to come in. They're going to be too pumped up. They're going to be too full of themselves, thinking they were the better team. And they just trounced us. And, I mean, they threw our faces in the mud and just raked us up. And I was so mad leaving that game. I was so mad. And then we all saw what started to happen. And I thought, man, I actually started to question the Eagles and how good they were in terms of their mental ability to get past a loss like that. And as the season was going on, and they were just losing, and I don't mean losing, some of them were flat out ugly. Like, they had no identity. They lost all self-confidence. And I literally was sick to my stomach the rest of that season. Like, I literally could not wait for the season to be over. I would have been happy if, well, I was happy. Like, I thought, man, I don't have to watch this no more. Like, this was terrible.
And I was trying to be optimistic about it too. I went on a couple different with different friends on some podcasts and interviews, and ours too. And I remember I was pretty optimistic about it. I was like, well, they still got it. They still got, but I think they needed that deep cleaning, and they just needed to change things up. And I'm glad they did, because look where they are now.
So we go to that game, and then 2024 rolls around, and free agent signing, and it was, I was excited for this season, and listen, I'm always excited for football season, but I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like, is Saquon Barkley? I know he's good. I wanted Saquon Barkley to be an Eagle when he was at Penn State. I knew how good he was. Like, everyone who knew how good he was. But it was like they signed him, and then it was the $12 million a year, and then you had all the New York media, you had all the New York fans, the Giants fans, trying to instill fear that he's washed up. He got overpaid. He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna do this. He's not as good as the pick he was. Well, Eric texts the guys in the group and says, we're thinking of going to Eagles Giants game. Put me in. So we go on Philly sports trips, and we all know what happened. Like, he goes nuts. Eric,
you mean the one this season?
Yeah.
Is that the one? So I was supposed to go that weekend with Philly sports trips, and so I would have been with you guys. It ended up not. I was actually going to do. Oh, that's freaking awesome, dude! Is
that's Jordan Spector?
Jordan. Oh, he's my buddy, dude.
He was, man. Like I said, I met him. We met him. Not years ago. Me and Eric did a podcast. We did a show at Monkey's Uncle with Mike Skalski for the Kobe Bryant book.
Okay.
And, he did all the art. And then part of that sports trip, we each got this. I was like, well, oh, and it's numbered. This one is 129 out of 400. Amazing. I was like, oh, this is going right in the frame.
Oh,
so
man.
I got this framed.
Jordan's funny story. So Jordan and I, we were talking about doing like album artwork together. But when it comes to music and linking art, there's like so much more that goes into it that I didn't even think about or know about. So we're going to, in the new year, we're going to do a collaborative piece together and try and do something really special. So that's so cool you brought him up. He's a great guy, and I always love seeing him at the games, and I'm excited to do something with him hopefully soon. But yeah, that Giants game, I was supposed to be there actually. But that Giants game, he popped off, and I think ever since then, I think once he got when Barkley got a taste of New York again, I think that's when it like clicked in his brain, like, all right, yeah, I'm the shit. I could go ahead and
So what are your thoughts, Eric, on the Mark Barkley signing?
That signing right there. I mean, number one, I was excited for it because typically the Eagles normally don't invest like draft picks or go after like high draft picks or go after like a high profile free agent running back. They typically don't. I mean, I think the last guy that they did sign in the offseason as a high profile guy was what's his face from Dallas. Who was it?
Murray.
DeMarco
Murray.
Yeah. So I mean, and that was an epic failure, and they just shied away from it. So when they signed Barkley, okay, I was happy. They put something into that position, which I always said was in need. And I saw all these like analysts and all these people on the show on these different sports talk shows, like geniuses like Nick Wright, who were sitting there saying that he's going to be an epic failure for the Philadelphia Eagles. They'll be lucky if they get 6 games out of him, and all this stuff, saying how he wasn't going to be a factor whatsoever, and he mocked all the people saying that Barkley could have a CMC, a Christian McCaffrey type season. And he was kind of just going off and throwing the Eagles under the bus even before they played a snap in training camp.
Yeah.
And look what happened. You give this guy a good offensive line. He stays healthy, and this is what you get. This is why this guy was picked where he was picked. This is what the Giants hoped that they would have in him the entire time he was there. And again, I will forever say thank you to the Giants for letting him walk. I mean, because what he's doing now, he's having a pretty historic season, not just for himself, but like NFL.
What's crazy is he just this year. I mean, we're week 15 coming up. He's already at 1,500. He's 1 yard shy of 1,500 yards, and they're 2/3 through the season. And he, the only year he got close to that was in 2022. I think he had like 1,300 yards. But all his other years with New York, I think 2023 and from 2010 to 2012, those total rushing yards in those years don't even add up to the amount of yards that he's ran this year. So, I agree, Eric. I think you hit it on the money. When you surround talent is talent. It's like, look at Derrick Henry. I mean, he's another great example, right? In Tennessee, it's like, I was joking with Brandon Graham. I met him this summer, and I said the Titans are kind of like the Eagles farm system, because we got Byard and Brown and Henry almost, and he was joking. But what's crazy is like, Derrick Henry and Saquon are very similar in the sense of, if you're so good, like look at Stafford and Goff, right? Like they just swap, but like look how great they are in their new environments, right? So Saquon's a similar example. It's like not only is he from Pennsylvania, spent time in Pennsylvania, but he's always had the talent, and shame on the Giants for ignoring that. It's like I never understood why teams get rid of great players, because it's never the players. They think, oh, maybe we'll get more, draft space. Maybe we'll, change our salary cap. Maybe we'll have room to wiggle and increase space in other areas and draft better. But getting rid of talent, I just don't think is any time a smart move. And in this case for New York, it wasn't. And I'm so glad that he came to Philly just because it's New York and Philly. But he's on a historic run, and he might. I think he's up for MVP of the year. I think he's more deserving than that. We're not even halfway through the season almost, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
no, you're 100% right. It's crazy. Like in that Ravens game, like they just like he had a down game, 117 total yards. Like
Wow.
It was a down game, 117 total yards. Now, Eric, you were on your honeymoon. Did they have the Eagles game on for you?
Yes, they did, and it was in English, so it was awesome.
I love that.
We went to Punta Cana, and we stayed at this amazing 5-star resort. It was great. And some of the TV stations, speaking Dominican and all this stuff like that. Then you had other ones that were English. I mean, we were getting news from Channel 10 here in Philadelphia. We were getting news from Channel 6 in Florida. Like, it was crazy. But I was able to watch the Eagles game. They had this awesome sports bar, and they had like 4 or 5 big TVs, and the game was on all of them. I just sat back in a chair drinking some banana mamas, watching the Eagles play.
I love that. That's awesome. There's a really cool Eagles bar here in Nashville. I just found out. It's at if you guys are ever down here, it's Sports and Social. So it's actually ran by Live Casino. And
nice.
It's
okay.
Parent company, and they have them all over. But this one is in Green Hills, Nashville. And it's the craziest thing. It turns into an Eagles bar. They have the smoke. They've got the chant song with the DJ going when they score. They got lights. It's awesome. It's freaking great. And I've never seen so many Eagles fans in green in Nashville. It's like awesome. I'm like, where did you all come from? But it's you got to check it out though. I feel like you guys would really like it.
You see that? You see that picture? Yeah. So, but all right. So, before we get into your future endeavors, obviously the big talk is Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. I think we all know how good the secondary is. We know how good Quinyon Mitchell is. We all knew Cooper DeJean was good, but I didn't think he was going to be like what he's doing now, which is insane.
Unreal, dude. And Mailata is on fire too. He's not getting talked about enough. He is the number 1 rated offensive lineman in the NFL right now.
I think what was it? 96, I think it was, Eric. Is that what you shared the other day?
So I think that's it.
Yeah.
So I want to bring up. I want to bring up 2 players. Zach Bond. Eric, you lead.
Absolute steal. That's the only way I can describe Zach Bond. I mean, who would have thought just moving him over one position would create basically a defensive monster for this season? Like, this guy's been unreal. I remember when they signed him, I was like, okay, whatever, that's good. They need linebacker depth. And this guy's having an all-pro season. I mean, God loves Vic Fangio. I don't know what the Miami Dolphins players were clapping about when he left there, but thank you. Another one. Thank you, Dolphins, for giving us Fangio.
Well, that's another case, right? Like, I think what Howie and the front office for the Eagles are so excellent about, and Sirianni, I think they understand talent, and they understand that if they can control the culture, right? Jerry Jones says it best, which obviously the culture must not be good, because he says the culture of the team is what wins Super Bowls, right? And is what wins, and the team with the best culture. And so if you can create an environment with coaching and with players where there's chemistry, there's incentives in place, there's team chemistry, there's camaraderie, there's whatever they got going on internally, whatever the coaches are doing mentally to these players, they are pumping them up and they are jacked. And the Eagles know very well that if we can control what we can control culture-wise and being champions and building this environment for our players to succeed, if we just take the best from every position that we can find and we need to fill and bring them to this team, their chances and probability of succeeding are through the roof. And so Zach Bond's another example, just like Barkley, where, here's a guy that is so talented. He's 20 something years old. 20. He's a year older than me. That's crazy to think about. But he's 27 and he's one of the best in the league. It's like, but it's literally because of your environment, right? And I'm a big believer of that, especially, kind of with music too. It connects is like who you surround yourself with. Who you surround yourself with is, the average of you, the 5 people around you. And so I think on a football team, that's especially important. And that's why, teams like, look at Detroit, they're scary as all hell. I think they remind me of the 2017 Eagles where, they have this mission and this vengeance. It's like dangerous. And, it's I've never seen a scary Lions team in my lifetime. And so, it's something that I think about a lot in terms of new players. And Vaughn, to get to the point, I think he's a perfect example of that and carrying this team. I mean, he is fantastic. He's dropping people left, right, and center. And I don't think he gets enough credit. I think what he's doing is way more than the press he's even getting, worth way more.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to my next player, but I just have a real quick question, just because where did it go? Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, so the Keith Newman, who I do my Hall of Fame baseball podcast with, he's talking about my Lotta, how good he is, covers 3 dudes himself every play, which is fine. My question to you, Holdyn, is who's got the better singing voice, you or Jordan?
Oh man, well, Jordan is fantastic. Let me tell you, I see all his videos, and he is so good. He's heard "Go Birds," and I've heard that he loves it, and that makes me happy. And he seems like a great guy. Actually, my friend Mike, who runs a Australian meat pie company, G'day Gourmet, Jordan sponsors. They're both Australian, so he pushes that, and they help each other out. And a great pie. Check him out. I think section 111 in the link. You got to go do it. But it's so Jordan's fantastic. I love seeing all the Christmas stuff, and I had it on my list earlier, all Kelsey, and it's so funny, like hearing. It's so funny hearing him sing. It's like, these giant monster men, being so soft and sweet. It's like, it's cool. I think of my grandpa. He was like 6'5", 6'4".
Nice.
Little Bichon Frise around our little walkway. It's like our neighborhood. Nice. It's like the funniest sight. It's like a tiny little white dog with the giant man. It kind of reminds me of that, like all these big football guys singing Silent Night. It's just pretty cool.
Australian meat company. Shit, I didn't expect to hear when I woke up today.
Keith, you gotta try. I tell you, they're better than cheesesteaks. It's fantastic. They're like a pot pie, but they stuff them with, you can get cheesesteaks in them. You can get buffalo chicken in them. The My Lotta is buttered chicken. I think it's butter buffalo chicken. It's fantastic. That's my go-to. It's called the My Lotta also, so you gotta check it out.
So my next point that I was going to bring up before we switch over to music, and Eric, I'll let you answer this question first, and then Holdyn can follow. Will the NFL ever call it a holding penalty for Jalen Carter?
Ooh.
Who the hell knows, man? I mean, that's just funny. That's just funny to say that too. It's like, how's that not happen? They're on the line. They're just holding all the time. But you can't. He just. Oh my God, he's just so powerful. I don't think you have time to hold. You really don't.
Go ahead, Holdyn, and then I'll get into it.
I don't even think they're catching it. I don't even think they're seeing it. I think they're, at the end of the day, refs are people, so like if you miss a play here and there, I'm not complaining that they don't call a holding call on him. I mean, the hell, give it to him, but I think there is a little leeway. I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of people say, oh, it's all scripted. It's all, but who knows? If it's in our favor, then great. There was that call. What was that call this past weekend? It was like so obvious. It was like, insane, but we scored. And I forget what play it was.
Oh, we did the tush push and we false started.
Yeah,
everyone moved except the center.
That was it. Yeah, was it Collinsworth or someone? He's like, "Wow, well, that was definitely a penalty." And this,
you know what it was? It was Tony Romo, and he called it the tushy pushy, and I almost threw my hat through the TV. Like, stop with the tushy pushy. Like, stop it, Romo.
Chris Collinsworth and Tony Romo, in my mind, are comparable. So.
Yeah, they are, and it's funny because, we sit there and the Keith Newman who's commenting, who joined us. We always joke around about like holding. It's like, well, was that holding? Well, I'm like, well, he took his wallet and put it back in. So if that's not holding, I don't know what is. Like the one play, the guy literally ripped Jalen's jersey as he was going to him. Like,
that's wild.
Like, just give me one. Just give me one on a. Give me one that because it's just obvious. Like, and like I said, the good thing is like as Ryan Swope chimed in, is they are. His double teams, he's getting held. It's opening up Milton Williams, who's probably going to leave the Eagles this year because he's going to get a lot of money next year. And that's like where the downfall of being a very good football team is right now is they're going to lose some starters.
The shelf life. Yeah.
Now, if they're smart to look at 2022 and they'll be like, we lost 5 defensive starters. You can't lose 5 defensive starters like you did for 2022 and 2023. And then obviously James Bradbury couldn't cover me and Eric at the same time. Like, and I could be sleeping on the ground last year. He was terrible.
It was rough, man. And it's so sad to see such a great roster crumble because even though they on the books had the skill sets and the stats, historical stats, it just never clicked. And that's why I think like culture and it's so important. Something went haywire. I don't know. Nick Sirianni didn't cut his hair, so they started losing. So
listen. The last time me and Eric actually got into a screaming match about Nick Sirianni. He wants to get rid of him. I was like, no. I don't know if Eric still feels that way. I know he hates Big Dom.
I love Dom. Dom's great. I think he's a rock star. I think Sirianni's a rock star. I think they're all. I know Dom well. I think Sirianni is. I think he's misunderstood often. If you look at the stats, I think after. I forget how many games it was. After 40 games or whatever it was, but he is, I think, top 5 in wins for any coach. I think he's 5th for a certain amount of years as coach. So I forget what the date is, but it's a crazy stat, and he has an insane winning record. So I mean, he has his ups and downs, but that's my opinion. I think he is the guy. I think it depends on the players we have too. But
yeah, I think a lot of the players respect him. I'm going to turn this over to Eric because I know he had a strong disdain for Sirianni, and it was righteous that he had it. Like, I look at Sirianni as my personality. Like, I talk shit. It's what I do. The Keith Newman who's one of my good friends since 2006, and by friend I mean acquaintance. We talk ish to each other. We're cocky, and I guess that's why I like him because I like his cockiness. Now, Eric, it's your turn.
Well, I mean, look, winning helps everything. It helps people not think more clearly. I used to like his, I guess they say the sideline antics. I thought it was fun. I thought it was something cool. He was like a fan actually coaching a team. Where he lost me was when he went at the fans because they were by right. They were upset. So you don't go back on your fans. I mean, okay, they're the ones that are ultimately paying your salary. Don't turn around and give them crap because they're not happy with you. That's how it goes. It's how it's always been. But I mean, whatever has turned around, in from win 1 through win 8 of this 8-game win streak, it's working. And Sirianni is absolutely the guy to head the ship. I think early on there may have been a little bit of contention between him and Kellen Moore. I think Sirianni was just trying to say, hey, I'm still the head coach here, and push his weight around. And I think he overrode Kellen Moore on some plays, which he has the right to do. But as far as locker room, I think Nick Sirianni is the perfect coach right now to lead that locker room, specifically that locker room. I think he would be well liked around the league and a lot of other locker rooms. So, yeah, my outlook on Sirianni has changed. I'm seeing the positives. I just hope that the negatives stay kind of buried now, and he doesn't bring them up, because we all know come playoff time, and this happens with every coach, they for whatever reason they get cute, and the playoffs is like the third season of the season, and they try to do stuff that we didn't see during the preseason and regular season. I can't stand it. I know it's coming all the time, and I dread that Sirianni may revert back to how the first 4 games went of the season. But no, I feel good about what's going on right now. Obviously, there's a lot of good things coming. They're rolling. They're all clicking. The rookies. He's got the rookies playing amazing. I can't stop talking enough about Quinyon Mitchell, and it seems like nobody else is. But I actually love the kid, Cooper DeJean or DeJean, whatever you want to call him. He is a man about town right now. He's on fire. He gets it. But yeah, so but that's that's pretty much that's my take on these guys on Sirianni now. So I'm really cool with it. So and so with that, we'll just I guess we can segue into some of your upcoming projects, Holdyn. What you got?
And I'll just say too, Sirianni's batting .700 right now. Like that's his win-loss percentage, and so his margin. So and we've made the playoffs all 3 seasons so far that he's been head coach. So and we made it to Super Bowl 25% of those. So I look at the data, and I think that I think what happens is Philly are, of course, we're very passionate fans. So I think there's always hostility between emotions and players and coaches and fans, but I think overall I agree with you, Eric and Chris. I think Sirianni's the guy right now, and I'm excited to see how we roll. We're rolling hot right now, so it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I want to, before we switch over gears, Ryan Swope had posted a concern. Eagles are winning in the regular season. Obviously, Saquon is a big reason. He's carrying this team. But come playoff time, can this team only rely on Barkley? He doesn't think so. Hurts runs too, but it's not referencing that. Hurts needs to show us he can take over a game and average 230 to 240 yards on 20 to 25 passes a game. So I'm going to say we've seen it before. We've seen it before. He did it 2 years ago. And he had Miles Sanders. If you don't have to, that's the thing is you're relying, you don't need to rely on a quarterback throwing 25 times a game, 30 times a game. I think the NFL is reverting back to the Eagles are playing 80s and 90s football. They really are. Yeah. I bet if you go back and you look at the stats of Joe Montana and John Elway, it was ridiculous. John Elway didn't win a Super Bowl until he had a running back. Now here, the numbers are there. Yeah. So I think Hurts can do the 240 yards passing a game. I think he can. I think, but the way this team is built, it's built for that. It's built if he needs to pass, he needs to pass. A.J. Brown is 8th in the league in receiving yards. He's played in 9 games and he's got 52 catches. Yeah. So I'm tired. Listen, Eagles fans, I know I said it last year in the interview. but this is a completely different team. We are a good team. If we end up in the NFC Championship game at home against the Lions, we're most likely going to win, and we're most likely going to the Super Bowl.
I think we can hold off Detroit. What do you guys think? You think we who do you think NFC champ? Of course, I'm going to say Philly, but do you think Lions are pretty much our contenders?
I do.
Yeah, they're not. They're far from pretenders.
They're blowing people over left and right.
But they're losing too many. They're losing too many people on defense.
Yeah, I don't know. Dan Campbell, I love him though. I love his.
Yeah.
I love his style and his coaching. And so that would be a great matchup. And you know what? Last season, I'll leave it with this. I was rooting for Detroit at the end. I mean, the Eagles gave up, but I was pulling for Detroit, and
we hated San Fran.
Oh, the last Super Bowl I think I ever wanted to watch. Like, of all teams that had to make it, of course they make it. But Detroit, I was pulling for them, and it reminded me a lot of Philly. A couple years ago when we were in that position, and so I think that would be a great game. I think that would be a very physical game. It'd be very tough, a lot of rush yards. I would like to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
So obviously Holdyn is a country singer. Philly guy who's a country singer. You don't really hear that often. You performed at Barefoot Festival in 2024?
Yes.
Tell us a little about that.
Oh, so cool. So for those who are new to me and haven't met me before, so I'm Holdyn, and thank you guys again for having me on. This is awesome. So I was born in Houston, but I was raised in Philly. I was raised up in Bucks County, and my whole family's from Northeast. And so anyway, long story short, I moved to Nashville 5 years ago to pursue music. And this past summer, I played Barefoot Country Music Fest. It was awesome. And I won the Golden Boot Award, which basically means you sold the most tickets with your discount code, which means you had the most demand. And what that means is you get to play the main stage this next summer. So I'm so blessed and so grateful. And so we're going to be on that stage next summer. So y'all have to come on out. But yeah, this summer was wild. We played so many shows and in Jersey and Philly, and next year is even going to be crazier.
What else do you have local? What else? And by local, I mean, do you have anything in Philadelphia, or are you just bound down the shore in like Stone Harbor?
So my assistant right now is on Monday. We're hitting up hundreds and hundreds of venues, not only just Philly and Jersey, but I got to start branching out. Maybe I won't wear my Eagles gear in Ohio or Virginia or New York or something, but we want to definitely branch out. I'm working on 2 records right now, actually. That's I just dropped my first EP, which is the 215 tapes. So that's all my Philly themed songs. I've got Ring That Bell for the Phillies, which is my only non-country song. That got a lot of opinions online for that. But it's my only non-country song. And then Go Birds, of course, is my country stuff. And so I put it all in one project to tie a ribbon on it. And it's been awesome so far. And just seeing everybody love it. It's been cool, man. That's why I do it. I do it because I love, seeing people's reactions, making them feel something good. And yeah, it's been great so far.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was listening to Stone Harbor. I have like a playlist on my YouTube, and I was listening to Stone Harbor, and my wife says, "Hey," by the way.
I love
but you sing that song about Sam's Pizza.
And Sam's is the way. You got to have Sam's. It's either Sam's or Max. Everyone talks either Sam's or Max. Sam's is the way to go. Max is too greasy to me. But.
I love it. And my father stands by Max Pizza.
Really?
And
it's either one or the other. You're either one or the other.
Him and my sister, and they get mad at me when I eat Sam's. Now what we do is we go down the shore. Like we go down the shore for beach blast weekend, and we make like a weekend out of it. It's like all our friends that I vacation with and all that. And the Keith Newman is one of the people who goes down with, and we get 2 big pies, and then we get the boardwalk fries with the vinegar. Fries? Yeah, curly fries. I don't eat the vinegar, but my wife does.
They're good with vinegar. It's good to dip the vinegar and then you put it in the ketchup and like the two together.
Oh God, that sounds terrible. Eric, do you do that?
What's that?
Do you go down the shore?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right. Do you eat Sam's or Mac's?
See, this is what I love. It's the old Sam's and Mac's. It's like Geno's and Pat's. I'm a Sam's guy. I'm a Sam's guy, but
we're 3 for 3
if it's there and I want food.
But yeah. So what are some of the venues that you guys that you played at this past summer?
So what I've been doing the last few years and has been really a lot of acoustic stuff, so solo shows. So what I've been able to do, which has been so amazing, is so I started off, I put out Stone Harbor. So before I put out my song Stone Harbor, which was 2022, I had dropped 10 songs before that. And then, oh, thank you for the comment, Jesse, on the jacket. This is from Monkey's Uncle, so go get one. But
if they have any left.
Yeah, if there's any left, there might not be any left. But so I did a bunch of acoustic concerts, which were solo and they paid great. I met so many fans, and that really helped build, my local fan base, down the shore. And then it slowly grew and grew and grew. And then I was like, okay, let me, I've always been of the philosophy. I'm friends with Rick Barker, who used to manage Taylor Swift back in the day. And he mentioned to me on a call once, he said, hey, if you can't grow where you're from, how are you going to grow, elsewhere? And so I've really leaned into it and fully leaned into it and said, hey, this is I feel like a trailblazer, almost like no one in Philly is doing country music. And if they are, I'm friends with them. And there's only 10 of us, really. There's not much. And So we all come together and collaborate, and it's awesome. It's an awesome thing. So those acoustic shows have been really great down the shore, at Windrift, and we go Honky Tonk and Wildwood. And, that was a blast this summer.
I want to go there one time.
Oh, you'll love it. It's awesome. And so, all those shows serve the purpose, and they still will serve a purpose, but, Philly and Jersey, the fans are amazing. And with Barefoot too, of course, that they've been so kind. And, so I'm in a great position now to, scale my business and take it into other markets. And, it's been really, really magical to watch. And I've got all new music that I'm about to roll out next year, which I'm really excited for.
You know what? That's funny. You sit there and say there's only 10 musicians who play country music in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area
that are like doing it like seriously, that are,
but you think about it, why wouldn't there be more? Because we all know how big XTU is. We all know how big country music is. So the fact that it's only 10 of you have taken off, it's a very strange but unique situation. Now, for me, I wasn't always a country guy. Never was. I was like, nah, I'm never doing that. Till 2012, when my wife took me to go see Kenny Chesney in Wildwood. Yes,
I remember
on the beach.
You telling me that. That's right.
That literally changed. I was like, this is insane. And then Eric, he likes country music. He's been to Kenny Chesney tailgates. It's insane. I mean, Eric, chime in on your experience with country music and tailgating.
Well, geez, tailgating. I was also a big Parrot head, so I went to every Jimmy Buffett concert when he was in town, and literally there's a difference between a country tailgate and a Jimmy Buffett tailgate. A Jimmy Buffett tailgate is like a circus. You see all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's amazing. It's so much fun, but there is something about a true country tailgate that is just 100% real. It's like spring break. It's what it is. It's like a country tailgate is like spring break.
It's like an Eagles game, but warm.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing better. There's really nothing better than a country tailgate. There really isn't.
I love that, man. And that's so true, Eric. It's like, and country music, what attracts me to country music? I grew up listening to it my whole life. But, as an artist, it's the storytelling. It's I think the reason the country format is growing so much right now is because, it's booming. The reason it's growing is because I think people want to connect with songs. They want to connect with stories, and like they're so caught up in social media and the world and drama and politics and religion. And it's like, it's so overbearing, and music is an outlet that everybody understands. Everybody gets it. And I think country music, just by nature of the genre and how it's very storytelly, I think that's why it's growing so much, is because people need it. And, so, and Kenny Chesney, of course, you brought Kenny Chesney up. He is one of my idols. I look up to him. He goes to the same gym that I used to go to all the time. And I don't know if did I tell you my Kenny Chesney story last time?
Vaguely, but you can tell us again.
Okay. So I saw Kenny 2 years ago at Nissan Stadium here in Nashville, which is the Titan Stadium. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. He was still performing. He finished. He was like, "Have a good night." And as we're walking out, I live near downtown, so I walked home, and he was still going 30 minutes after I walked out of the stadium. The band was jamming. Everybody was going crazy. He signs all, everybody's stuff up front. He's really great with his fans, which I look up to. And anyway, so I missed the cutoff. So you know how you're in a stadium, you don't have connection because there's so many phones going on. So
yeah.
So I'm sitting there. It's like 6 o'clock. Before the show starts, and I'm like, damn, I forgot to cancel my gym appointment for 6 a.m. the next morning, because you get 12 hours to cancel, and I couldn't do it because of the connection. So I'm like, I'm gonna lose a credit. So because you have to go with the trainer, and it's a whole thing. So anyway, I leave the concert at 11 o'clock at night, wake up, go to the gym at 6 a.m. Gym opens at 5, or maybe it was 7 and it opens at 6. But guess who's walking out of the gym as I show up? Kenny. And that's the night after, 4-5 hours after he probably got home, and he's grinding in the gym. There is no other artist, in my opinion, that maybe Taylor Swift, that works just as hard as Kenny Chesney. It's truly remarkable what that guy does, and you see it in the gym. You're like, wow, this guy does not stop. And that's why, he's in his 50s, I think, still selling stadiums. There's a reason why. You look at Aldine, you look at Tim McGraw, you look at, Rascal Flatts, who are coming back this summer. I can't wait. They're playing barefoot. You look at all these guys that are still doing it all these years later, and you wonder why. And it comes down to the work ethic and how much they love their art, and it's really an awesome thing.
All right.
Yeah,
go ahead, Eric.
That's absolutely awesome. But sorry, guys, I gotta run, so I gotta take off.
Yeah.
But Holdyn, it was great to see you backstage for a quick 2 seconds. But it was great to talk to you again, my man, and really hope to link up with you soon sometime. But yeah, guys, I gotta run. Chris, you got the rest of this. You rock star. See you guys.
See you, Eric.
See you, Eric.
Yeah. So, you were talking about, music and how people just fall back into it, and I kind of see that with my kids. Like my 10-year-old, she's country born. She takes after my wife. We took her to a Dan and Shay concert this year. My wife took her to Lee Brice a couple weeks ago. And then my wife took her to Sam Hunt a couple weeks ago, and she took her, my other daughter, and my niece. And then I started to see, as my middle child Peyton, as she got she just turned 14, she's now listening to country music. She really wasn't, not that she wasn't into music, but she didn't really like listen. But now I like see her going to concerts and enjoying it and seeing that, oh, I think I got 2 country girls.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Well, you can't go wrong.
now you like I said, you can't go wrong. And then, obviously we want to see Jelly Roll, Post Malone, like they're coming to Citizens Bank Park. Awesome. You know what's funny is I want to go to Barefoot, but hold on, let me see.
The kid showed me my list today. She had Jeff Buckley and Hull on it. This generation is all
You know what? He's 100% right, because my son's the same way. He'll be listening to country music. He'll be listening to 90s rap and whatever the music is today. And then he'll go back to country and 90s rap. I'm like, what?
You know what's wild is like, I met Nickelback's manager last week, because Nickelback does country now. They're in Nashville and they're collaborating with a lot of country artists. But I was at a conference panel with their manager, and he also manages some country artists, Bailey Zimmerman, Nate Smith, and his name's Chief. And so I asked him, I said, hey, here's what I got going on. What do I need to be doing? And he's like, dude, drop songs every month and just start getting it going in a routine. And I'm like, wow, that's so much music. But if you think about it, it comes back to what you just said. Everybody's attention spans now are so small. It's like, you find an album, right? Your favorite artist puts out an album now, let's say, and then you listen to 2 weeks of it. And then after 2 weeks, you're like, all right, I want some more. So it's so true, man. It's like the attention spans are so small. So even as an artist, it's like, how do you ride with a song and reinventing yourself and your sound and putting out content all the time? And it's crazy that that's the case. Like, you got to be posting all the time. Like, it's nuts. And I wish Nashville was more, the entertainment music business was focused more on talent, which it still is to a very large degree. But there's festivals that won't book you unless you have certain numbers. There's labels that you won't even pop up in their software until you have a certain amount of followers. So it's silly, that it comes to that. But
hey, listen, you gotta do. Yeah, I respect the hustle. That's all you have to do.
That's right. All you got to do is meet. Well, at the end of the day, it's all about the fans. It's all about the music, right? And so if you do what you love and people love what you do, that's success in my eye. And if a label wants to come around and scale it after they see all this great music I got coming, then let's go ahead and do it. And but it's been a great journey so far. And building on Philly's a huge country music market, like you said. It's fascinating. It's like, if you speak about it, it's like, ooh, you like country music? Like, if you go in my Instagram comments, dude, like, there are tens of thousands of haters. And some of the things they're saying are absolutely crazy. I could report it. But it's like, it's Philly, but that's just how it is in that market. And so my producer, James, told me, he said, dude, you only dropped 2 songs this year, Go Birds and Ring That Bell, which wasn't even a country song. And you built, what you've done with 2 songs. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, imagine when you drop 30 next year. And I'm like, oh, that's a perspective. Thank you so much for that. And so, I didn't want to pigeonhole myself as the Philly sports song guy, but here we are. And
you gotta have a stepping stone somewhere.
You have to, right? You got to lean in. And but this is my home. These are my people. These are my fans. And so whenever we do scale this business and take it to the next level very soon, I can always come back home and it's a party. And that's the beauty of it. And so, but yeah, lots of great stuff coming. I can talk. If you can't tell, I can talk for hours about music business. I love it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have you back on. We'll see. If the Eagles get to the NFC Championship game, we'll link up and we'll have you back on. And
let's do it, man. That
and then, like I said, maybe you'll have some show dates for us because it'll be the new year.
Absolutely.
So I'll tell you right now, with this ending, my 3 favorite country songs right now in this order are Go Birds, a bar song by Shabuzi, and Pink Skies by Zach Bryant. Those are my three right now that I'm always I can listen to at any time.
Man, all great artists. Shabuzi, I met Shabuzi twice this year. I met him at a Billboard event at the ACMs in Texas, and I ran into him last week. He is so
my wife is so mad. She's like, "Why is Holdyn at the ACMs? Sings country music."
He is the biggest dude. Like, I didn't realize how big he's like 6'7", 6'6". I mean, at least he appears that way in person.
Yeah,
but he's big. I love his voice. I love his style. I think his song. I just saw a data point. It was like, I think apart from, I don't know what song, Last Night, which my friend John wrote, which went wild, Morgan Wallen. I think a bar song, Tipsy, went the second most exposed song on country radio ever. I don't know what the data is. I got to go back and look, but it's insane numbers. And that thing is so fun. It's such a jam, man. I whenever that comes on, it's like, ooh, it's like everybody at the bar getting tits. It's great.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Oh yeah, go ahead.
And here's my wife chiming in. There's no greater storytelling than country.
That's right, man. And I'm so excited for new music too. Go Birds is a love song, but at the end of the day, it's the story I think that people really like. And I think, and what's crazy, not Dallas people don't, but everybody else loves it. And, what's crazy too is that most of my monthly listeners are in Dallas. And secondly, is that the storytelling, I can't wait for music to come out next year that is just so much me and my story and who I am. And to take all these awesome Eagles fans I've met and new fans of me, and then to go and say, hey, here's another part of my story that you guys get to hear. And I'm so excited to share that too in the new year. My true artistry stuff.
All right. Well, it's 8:10, and I know you have a prior engagement, so we don't want to keep you any longer.
Oh, you guys are rock stars.
So listen, I'm glad we were able to link up again. As we can see, Eric's pretty face is back on.
You're back, buddy.
Yeah, he still don't have audio.
I don't know if I have audio or not.
You do.
Oh my God! I don't know. He did a Control Alt Delete restart. So Eric, you stay on, but we'll end with Go Birds because like I said, we put it in our highlight video, and then me and Eric will come back on and talk for a couple more minutes as long as Eric still has audio. Holdyn, you have anything coming up in December you want to chit chat or?
Absolutely. Well, I got a big Christmas gift for all my fans, so be on the lookout. And I've got a lot of new music on the way next year, so stay tuned. All my Spotify, Apple Music, you can just type my name, Holdyn Barder. I've got music everywhere. You can follow me, Instagram, Facebook. We're at Holdyn Barder Music. Shoot me a message. Let's chat. I want to get to know you and hopefully catch you at the show. And Chris and Eric, thank you guys for having me back. This is so fun. And shout out.
And remember,
the Philly.
It's always Sam's.
Always Sam's.
Always Sam's.
And Go Birds. Let's get this Super Bowl, gentlemen.
Go Birds.
The Cowboys are sure gonna miss her. I hate to break it to them, she looking better in green. Tomorrow she was planning on leaving, but she don't wait. Changed her philosophies. Was it the fans? Was it the lights? Could have been my arm wrapped around her all night. I knew she was the one when she said the words, not the words you might think. Oh man, she said, Go Birds. Drove her down to the Jersey Shore. She wanted something more than a Lone Star Texas guy. Told her about my favorite running back while we were running back. The time from that night when she leaned in and gave me that kiss. I missed the exit cause I didn't see how a pretty Dallas girl could win a Philly boy. We were making history. The Cowboys are sure gonna miss her. I hate to break it to them, she looking better in green. Tomorrow she was planning on leaving, but she don't went and changed her philosophies. Was it the fans? Was it the lights? Could have been my arm wrapped around her.
And welcome back.
Welcome
to the
back.
Philly Box with Eric's beautiful face, and he got his audio working.
I literally, dude, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. Like, after Jesse had to cut my feed because if nobody knew, I was using. I called him and he plugged his phone into his mixer board, and that's how I was at least to get audio over. And so he had to leave at 8 o'clock before he got the old PP slap by the wife for being on too late. So I went back into our old streaming service, StreamYard, and I plugged in my new USB mic, which I have right here, this nifty little gadget, and I plugged that in. I plugged in my headphones, and I literally just took a screenshot of everything that was on my screen that showed, and it was all working. I did the test and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay. So I took a screenshot, came right back into Streamlab, and just set it up. And next thing I know, I could hear everything. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna pop back in. And I'm like, can you hear me?
And listen, shout out to Jesse at OSCN for helping us get this interview going. Like I said, it was Eric. We don't know what it was, but he got it working, so we're all set for next time.
Yes, I'm never taking this stuff apart. It's
So
staying the way it is.
So we got a couple minutes left in our show. Obviously, Holdyn is a great interviewer. He's a great person. He's a really good musician, as you can see from our closing video is Go Birds, and his opening video, Go Birds. There's no reason to do anything else. Holdyn, we met through Monkey's uncle. If you didn't notice his satin jacket, he got that from Monkey's uncle. I'm about to get one. Not really, but yeah, I'm not a satin jacket guy. Some people can pull it off. I am not one of those people. But listen, he's a cool guy. He's a cool interview. I already got my podcast partner from the Hall of Fame Club podcast. Wants to bring him on and talk some music, or talk some Phillies with him, not music. So, with that being said, good.
No, I was going to say, and while I was sitting here staring at a computer screen and looking at my phone the whole time, I had my iPad out and I was looking up stats. And I got to admit, Holdyn does his research. He does his research and he comes prepared with stats. Like he's a music singer with a great voice, but this guy has got a sports mind too. So, and I mean, gotta love it. Be happy to have him on anytime.
Yeah. So we're just gonna dive 2 minutes and then we'll end the show. Eagles, Panthers. Eagles are a 13-point favorite. I don't think they're gonna win by 13. I think they're gonna win by a touchdown, maybe 10. Bryce Young is finally starting to come into his own. I just think they're a young team, and I can't see Adam Thielen beating Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, he had a great game last week. He had 24 points on my bench, which was one of the reasons why I lost. But
dude, I'm 1-11 because I had 34 people on IR.
Oh, jeez.
I ran out. I had more people on IR than in my starting lineup.
Yeah,
Stop
no,
laughing. That shit ain't funny.
I'm not. I'm not taking this Panthers team lightly. Even though the Eagles should win this game, and it should not be a difficult game for them to win. But I'm not going to take it lightly because, like you said, Bryce Young is starting to come around. Not that he scares me in any way, but if this is one of those games where it's like the Eagles are rolling along, 8-game win streak. They're coming up against the lowly Panthers. And I mean, the Panthers have stuff to prove. They want to prove that they belong. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say the Eagles win by at least a touchdown. But that's as far as I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I think the game is going to be a lot closer than the Eagles Giants game that me and you went to.
Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. And I was hoping that Jesse was able to put my picture up of me dressed like Jason Kelsey at the Eagles game in my in my velour green suit.
I don't know how to share that just yet. I got to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got it. So this is and you know what? Keith is right. This has all the marks of a trap game, and he is right. We need to be careful. I mean, you're riding high, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get shot down. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
scary.
I think isn't Carolina's run defense like 30th?
You know
They're
what?
32nd.
30 second. Yeah, I was going to
They're
say
32nd.
they're literally dead last. So so let's see.
But you know what? It goes back to your earlier comment about how, like, when you get to the playoffs and things change, Sirianni's be like, yeah, you know what? They had the 32nd ranked defense. So I'm going to have Jalen Hurts throw the ball 34 times this game.
That's
what this has the makings of.
That's funny. That's funny. But
But yeah, listen. I actually had a good time tonight. You know, even with the technical difficulties and Jesse being able to hook you up, you know, and you figuring out, we're all set for next time.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, and it's can't wait. This is going to be good stuff. Good stuff.
So I think you have any. You don't. You got work. So I was going to say you have any projects. I will be on a podcast tomorrow night to nurse the NEP podcast. We are going to be reviewing some movies from the 90s. I think tomorrow with our trilogy, our first movie trilogy. This should be interesting.
Movie trilogy, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's only one trilogy.
Which one?
Clerks.
Clerks. This dude. Oh, God. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, thanks to Jesse from, like I said, OCSN hooking you up, getting you right for a little bit, and then you figuring it out. Next time we come on, we'll have a full list of all the other shows on Old City. I know we have 2nd and 15, which is another Philadelphia Eagles podcast. And we also have Flyers Alley, which is obviously a take on the Flyers. He has viewing parties for the games. So he actually just texted us and said we should do a watch party, which I don't know if we can do it this year. There's only a couple weeks left in the season, and we need to see if we can get Holdyn out here for a watch party. So
yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I think it's something we can do. But yeah, you have anything you want to add before you do our sign out?
No, man, I'm good. I got really nothing else going. I'm just happy that I was able to figure out this audio issue. So yeah, like I said, I'm never taking this stuff apart. I'm going to find out a way to when I get my setup going here, I'm going to find a way to get this all put together without unhooking anything. No, I just going to go into the sponsors that we have, through the Old City Sports Network real quick. I don't have time to go through like everything, but I'm just going to like call them out, as a thank you to the sponsorship here. Of course, you can follow all of us and all the other shows here on the Old City Sports Network at oldcitysports.com. Decals by Aaron. We have righteousfelon.com. We have warlordbeardoil.com. We have SeatGeek.com, who's a big time sponsor. And a new sponsor was Iron Steel Threads for kids hockey hoodies, which I actually checked out their website today. It's kind of cool stuff. I actually passed it along to my my cousin Dana, whose son plays hockey right now, and she was like, "Oh wow,
oh nice."
So she's going to pass that along to the people that run the league. And of course, you can follow us all at the Old City Sports Network on YouTube.com. Old City Sports Network 4787. So there you go. Oh, and can't forget our guys at the Monkey's Uncle.
No, that's like I said, that's where they got the jacket from.
Yep.
And they are actually working on a code for us so that anybody who watches our shows or any of the other Old City Sports Network, they'll get free shipping.
Awesome.
So I'm working on that with Derek. They're gonna have a new whatchamacallit. They're gonna have a new Eagle shirt coming out soon. So, but yeah, I get a lot of my gear from Monkey's Uncle. I know Holdyn does as well.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, lead us out.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining. Well, I guess me now, but joining us on our very interesting, very first episode on the Old City Sports Network. It's been a blast. It was definitely a different experience for me to start this one out, but I guarantee and promise from here on out, all good SHIT. So this is good stuff, man. I can't wait. So this is awesome. Chris, what do you got? Anything before we go, or are you good?
No, I just thanks everybody for listening, commenting. Ryan Swoop, Melissa, the Keith Newman. Again, shout out to Jesse Bell for helping with the technical issues.
Big time. Thank you.
And that's it. I'm hitting end stream.
Peace
Have a good
out,
night,
everyone.
guys.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!